Hey guys, Tower Climber here, and I'm here to bring you another video of a Tower God Explains. And this video will be a discussion about ranking every single item that we have seen in the series. I'm going to bring out some rules immediately. Rules are that an item first needs to be the baseline item. The way I'm ranking these items are in terms of what if somebody of equal stats of everything got these items, and just the items themselves, what are the best in my opinion. Not like, so, example, Jihad can have a sword. That sword, because he's holding it now, technically, is it the strongest weapon because he's holding it? No, it's not, because he's holding it. He's probably powering it up with Shinsu. He's enhancing it. Yeah, it is stronger than 99% of weapons in the whole tower because the strongest person in the tower is holding it. But that doesn't mean it's the strongest weapon by itself. If you give that same sword that he's holding to someone else, they probably wouldn't be able to use it to the same level. That's what I mean. So we're going to strictly how good is the item and the materials and everything by itself, and I'll be explaining what the items are when I get to them. That's all the rules I got for this video, and other than that, the only other thing is that I will be putting it into tiers, just like the regular explained video, all of them ranked from the second floor. You should see that video too. It's a really good video. Let's get into it straight up now. Alright, first is regular tier. First thing that I'm going to get off straight off the bat, because of the way they work in the tower specifically, it is swords. Swords are very strong weapons to have at the beginning of the tower because they probably can do more damage than a needle would. But the problem with them is that they have a limiter of how long you can really be a swordsman in the tower, because as we found out very early on in the second floor, that swords have like a broad surface don't really work up well in the tower because the Shinsu density gets higher and higher. So they're normally at some point the swordsmen are going to have to become needle users. So if you can't really use an item for most of your climb in the tower, it's going to be at the bottom of this list. Next is Shinsu bombs. Shinsu bombs are very useful and they're very powerful, probably more powerful than some of these items that I have above it, but the problem is that when a Shinsu bomb blows up, it's a bomb, it blows up. You can't really use it again. So it's one-time use, and if you waste all of them, you don't have anything else. So they're just one-use powerful items that you can use to blow things up. Then is spears. Spears, just a regular spear that you probably are going to get in the second floor of the tower, are very useful items. They can be used for close range combat, just like we see Racks do them, but their main purpose is to be able to be thrown very far. And yes, while spear bearers are specifically trained to hit their targets from afar, but the problem is that when you throw them, you can't really get them back unless you go all the way to go get them. So it's like, again, it's just like the bomb situation. You use it, you use it, and then you can't use it. So that's why I have them here. Next, right above them are needles. Needles are basically the main combat use of the tower. Normally you have an arms inventory, you put a bunch of needles into it, and you use it and clash with people, and because normally you normally poke them, apparently, instead of slashing, but we have seen slashes and other stuff. So needles are better than swords and other stuff like that because of the way they interact with Shinsu and the way they can pierce through Shinsu easier. So that's why most of the weapons are needle based in this tower. Next above them are hooks. Hooks are basically just a needle with a hook. They're a hook, right? So I put them right above needles because they can hook, and they have a little bit more range than needles. And normally when we see somebody fight with it, they're able to hit somebody from more mid-range. So I just put them above that for that reason. Next is actually not a specific item from the second floor, but a very specific item. It is the boomerang spears that Novik uses in season 2. So he has like these needles, basically like 2-prong like needles, and he with a little thing here, and it's a boomerang. He throws them, and they come back. It already eliminates the thing that I told you about before, that you lose them when they're used, because they come right back, and they can be used like needles, and they're pretty longer than needles, so they're above needles and hooks and spears because of all the reasons I just stated. Next are actually something that you might not think it would be on this list. They're reels. Reels are, the main point of a reel is to basically hook into either into a hook or a needle to make them longer ranged. And a person we saw who's a master of this is Elaine. Elaine was able to use so many needles and so many hooks and different swords with the reels that it was crazy, right? Most anyone would not have been able to beat her except for Bomb and obviously some other princesses and stuff at the point, because of her mastery with all this stuff. And it's honestly insane, the amount of things that we have seen reels used for. Even higher rankers use them, like Yuri and all that stuff, because they're very useful for situations like this. Next are Shinsu wands. Shinsu wands, I've talked about them before in other videos, but it's basically a wand that you can use to control Shinsu without you yourself having to control them. And so that's pretty handy and pretty useful overall. Next, above them are the lighthouses. And honestly, I wanted to put the lighthouses above this tier, but I couldn't do it because I was basing it off of many other people that are very proficient lighthouse users. But normally, and they're able to do so much stuff, like control the flow of Shinsu, communicate with people, do all this stuff. And it's like, yes, it's very impressive, all these things they can do. And they're able to teleport and all that stuff. But that's like a really advanced, those are really advanced skills of light bearers, especially for regulars, right? So I'm basing this off mostly of like what their basic uses are. You're able to float inside your lighthouse, you're able to gather information, you're able to illuminate dark passages, that kind of stuff. They're still above everything else on the regulars here, because there's the potential they have are way more broad than anything below them, right? So that's basically why lighthouses are in this position, because they're the communication tower, they're the central part of your team in going up the tower, because information is crucial. And that's the light bearer's only purpose in the team. And they could also be used in so many other varied ways for barriers, teleportation, and all the other stuff that I've mentioned already. Above them are something that you could put lower, but I think because they're so integral to the climb of this tower, they should be mentioned, and those are pockets. Pockets are basically your lifeline in the tower, how they have been explained. They're your phones, your communicator, your translator, your inventory, basically almost everything that you would need them to be, they're that. You can text on them, you can do all that stuff. It's basically a phone of the tower, but better. You can do so much more than on a phone, and you can set them to be invisible for the purposes that you need. So overall, they're amazingly useful and versatile things that everyone should need when they're climbing the tower. If you don't have one, you're not screwed, but it's going to be a lot tougher to go up the tower. They also are the only ways that you can do your currency, right? So handle your points and all that stuff, so you kind of need it really badly for you to go up the tower, right? Overall, that is the regular tier. Moving on to the elite item tier. The elite item tier is basically what it means. They're items that are better than your basic normal items. Number 1, Naramata. Naramata is an ignition weapon. Ignition weapons are basically already going to be guaranteed to be put on this tier, because they can ignite and they can power you up a lot. So Naramata is an ignition weapon that is very powerful. It can create a huge powerful Shinsu blast. And right above Naramata is Krishna. The same basic thing. They're both from the same sets of 7 sacred swords. They just, when they're ignited, they can create huge blasts of Shinsu that are very powerful and are scary for many other regulars. So yeah. Next above them is actually the Silver Moray. This is the sword gifted to Vicente by his father, and I am putting this specifically above the other two swords because it has been given to by a family head. That's all I really need. That the only evidence I really need to put them above. That's really it. It doesn't really have a special ability. It's not an ignition weapon, but it's a very powerful sword from the Tengri family and from the RDA family. So I'm guessing it should be stronger than the other two swords. If they're not, then just swap them around. That's it. Next is the Purple Eye. This is an observer that is able to actually slow you down. Like it shoots a ray, and one of the functions is to slow you down. And that is pretty good. It's an observer, so it can do everything that an observer can and slow you down. Basically. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention it during the regular portion, but basically just put observers in that tier too. Observers are in the tier, a regular tier. A regular observer is basically what it says. It observes things ahead of you, and it can do that stuff. I'm so sorry for forgetting about that. They should be below. I would put them below lighthouses, but because they are able to gather information for all the other positions to get. And the next one is actually another observer. It's called the Baby Growler. The Baby Growler has a unique ability to nullify lighthouses. This has been shown with Kaseya when she nullified the barrier of Kuhn's lighthouse and just basically stabbed them and won the fight. So it's able to nullify lighthouses. Pretty good. The next one is an item that is very well known throughout the story, and it is the Mad Shocker. The Mad Shocker is used by the main character Rack that he got from the workshop battle. It's basically a really powerful spear. It's been shown to be very, very powerful. You can be used for close combat or distance throwing. It's mostly used for distance throwing, and it eliminates the weakness that I mentioned that spears have before, and that it being that it can actually return to the user after it being thrown. So Rack can throw it and it can return. So, and it's more powerful than a regular spear. Next is, I have above that one is the Man Barandina, Kuhn's suitcase from season 1. This suitcase has a lot of options. It can multiply anything that is put inside of it. It can swallow a lot of stuff. It can swallow almost anything that we have seen being thrown at it. And it also has the ability to alter things that's inside of it. So like Kuhn put his knife in it, he took a knife out of it, and it became like a longer knife. So that's really powerful. And he can even put whole people inside of here. He did this to 3 regulars, so he's able to have multiple people inside this little pocket dimension space that the Mon Barandia has. So pretty powerful weapon overall, and I'm pretty sad that Kuhn got rid of it, because it probably would have been still really helpful from what we've seen. The weapon above this one, the item above this two is Donghae. Donghae is a very powerful weapon, and it can affect a ranker's hypnosis when ignited, which is a high ranker's hypnosis when it's ignited, right? So it also has some passive abilities, like it made HOTS not be affected by the hypnosis of high rankers, so that's really good. But the reason and you might be saying, why is this higher? Because the reason it's not higher is because using it while it's ignited could kill you. It has a mind of its own, and every ignition weapon has a mind of its own, but this one really has a mind of its own, of where if it doesn't like you, it can kill you. and if you're not pure of heart, it can really be fatal for you, and you can die. So overall, that's why I think that it's not the best weapon to always use, and it's clear why HOTS doesn't always use it, obviously. It's HOTS, even with HOTS being pure of heart and only having his goal on one target and one purpose, he didn't die, but he said his insides felt like they were on fire, right? So even the most purest person, when ignited, when ignited, it still felt like that those after effects. And obviously, Dong Hye, even without being ignited, is super powerful. But that's what I mean. Just without being ignited, that is why it is here. If it was not powerful when it was ignited, it would be way lower on this list. The next one is Orange Snake. This is a needle, a transforming needle that it was used by the Ranker Charlie. And somebody be like, "This is a Ranker weapon. Why is it this low?" Because it has no feats. The only feat it has is that he was gonna plan to kill Dorsey and Bomb. That is it. Like, it's like if we don't even know if it was gonna kill them, probably would have, but like we don't know. And also, like, it got stopped by the Black March, not ignited and not even used by anyone. It was in the middle of the air when it just clashed with it, and it got deflected. So like, it's it doesn't seem that much to me, that powerful to me, in my opinion. So that is why. Above that is actually not technically a weapon, but I wanted to talk about them. The living ignition weapons. Being in a living ignition weapon basically means that you are a person that can ignite. You have a demon inside of you that is able to be ignited, and and you're basically a human capsule for an ignition. So we have seen this with Bomb, we have seen this with Horion, we have seen this with Kazano and Beta. Those 4 people, they're all pretty damn strong for regular standards. They also, because they're weapons, they have certain attributes that don't get them affected by certain things. Like, Beta was not affected by Helljo sucking all the Shinsu out of everything. Beta was completely fine. And they're also able to use their own type of transformations. Horion can do Horion is the right arm, Kasano's the left arm. Kasano stole the right arm from Horion, and he's able to do both devil arms. And they're pretty powerful. Wang Nan said that he would get atomized by a blast from Kasano. That's pretty impressive. Above them is another item from the workshop, the White Heavenly Mirror. The White Heavenly Mirror's basically main point that everyone knows it about is that you can stab somebody in the heart and conceal them inside of the mirror. It does have other abilities that apparently we do not know, but mostly it is that. It is a very situational. It can basically not negate durability, but if it stabs you, it's gonna seal you. So it's been used for people that are stronger than it. So like Wang Nan used it on Vicente. Wang Nan was nowhere near as strong as Vicente. Vicente was as strong as Joaquin, right? Equal to him. And Wang Nan was still able to seal him inside of the White Heavenly Mirror, and Vicente wasn't able to get out of it. So overall, I feel like it's a very powerful weapon. Above that one, it is the Blood Tamara. The Blood Tamara, it is a weapon that not Borilsar Elliot, Varagov, the other Mad Dog, he got in the workshop battle. That basically makes him for regulars, nearly invulnerable. Like, it's a weapon that has been infused into his bloodstream, and it basically allows him to have super durability, right? Like, he got summoned by Dorsey to the top of the island, smashed down by her force of her kick, and hitting the ground, and only his leg got a little like bloodied and bruised. That is it, like, right? So he's definitely very, very durable, and it has been said that Bomb's, in the beginning of season 3, Bomb's Shinsu boost, which I would consider ranker level at this point because he has fought many rankers, although it has been stated that rankers are physically dominant over Bomb, and this makes sense. So he's like right there. Rankers are here, Bomb's right here in terms of Shinsu boosting, and this is where the Blood Tamara is, and that's when the Blood Tamara was not even. Neither Bomb was not going all out. I know that, but neither was Varagov. Varagov later on unleashed the full power of the Blood Tamara, so that indicates that he didn't use it all out when he first fought Bomb. That is insane. Basically gives a regular ranker level durability. Basically, that is insane. but overall it's not that versatile. So it is insane, but it's not as versatile, so it has to go below the next item on this list, which is the bong bong. The bong bong, it is a super versatile item, because it's basically a little fairy that you have with you that can shroud around you and teleport you. It can also make you just fly. You can just summon the wings above yourself and just fly normally. You can the mobility of this thing is insane. We have seen, even now it is relevant to the story, and it is crazy. Obviously there are limits. We know the limits. Endorsi has said it herself. She can't do it after a long distance. It can't really be done that well, and it does consume her own stamina to do it, which makes sense. So it does have weaknesses, but it is still insane. She's also able to speed up the movement of other objects, like little tiny objects, and make them go faster and that stuff. She's able to do a lot of things with this. To do it on just her feet, to enhance her own attacks, to blow through somebody. It is crazy. So this item, just because of its versatility, and Endorsi beat Varagov in the actual fight they're in, because she was able to summon him all the way to the top of the island with the bonbon and slam him down. It's just SIU has even stated that Endorsi plus the bonbon is just OP against regulars, and I believe him, because what other regular is doing that kind of stuff? That it's just insanity. Above it is a very contentious, and this will be the last one of the elite item tier. It is Yura's suitcase. It can go below like 5 other things, but I feel like I have the good argument. It is because it is the grand prize of the previous workshop battle that Yura got, and it basically works like the bong bong, where it's like, it doesn't let you have the most mobility like the bong bong, but it allows you to teleport to places like the bong bong. It is also a lighthouse, and a lot of people don't know that it is a lighthouse, so it could probably do all the lighthouse things. So imagine a lighthouse. She was able to negate flow control because of it, because it's a lighthouse. So it is crazy. Reverse flow control by Bomb when she fought him, and that is crazy to think about. So I think Yura's suitcase is contentious, but overall it deserves this spot on the tier list, I think, in my opinion. Now we have the ranker level weapons. The first one we will be talking about is the Little B. The Little B in this is a ranker observer by Grande Lee that basically, just like it's an observer, it's super tiny. It also can turn invisible and go around super fast. And if it hits you, it can inject a poison that it's meant to instant kill you, and no one was able to heal Rachel from it other than Guest Thing just by looking at her, right? So that's what I mean, that it's a crazy weapon that was able to smash through Kuhn's lighthouses. It was really powerful. It has a lot of versatility and power. So I think Little B, while being the weakest ranker weapon, it shows the gap between ranker weapons and non-ranker weapons. The next one is the Yang Hammer. I don't really like talking about it because I don't really like the character that made the hammer. He basically I'll show him in the screen. This guy, this idiot, made this hammer, put all his flames into it, which are healing flames, and he's able to basically heal people with it and all that stuff. I won't get into the thing. If you've read the story, you know why he's an idiot, and because he put all his power into it and then made it so no one could take it back other than the user. No one could steal it from him. So it's yes, it's never going to be stolen from him unless he gives it away, but at the same time, if he gives it away to somebody, he can't take it back. So it's not a really good thinker. He's pretty stupid, but the power cannot be denied. It is a family ability that basically can revive people, and basically all the things we've seen Kuhn would do with the little fish, the sweet fish, this hammer should be able to do, and probably more. That is why I put it there. Above this weapon is a weapon that I've talked about in my last video. It is Longinus. Longinus has 3 forms. It is named Colocanth and Leviathan. These weapons are able to boost Jihad's power all the way up to being able to contend with Bomb's abilities that at this point were pretty comparable to rankers and probably above rankers, if I was to say it. So overall, I feel like this is where this should go. Above Longinus is the Purple Dementor, and the Purple Dementor is specifically here because it has poison that can affect high rankers, and he was planning to use this against Yuri Jihad. Pedro was. And Pedro was confident that this would have been able to at least incapacitate Yuri. We don't know about killing. We don't know. He thinks so, but we don't know about that. So yeah, and this is also an observer, so it should be able to do all the observer things, right? And it has been stated by SIU that in the hands of somebody better than Pedro, like a scout like Karaka, it would have been way stronger, obviously. But we're just taking the base item here. Next is the Spear of Doom, the spear used by Mateha that he used to take out Lopobi at Jam Jam. Basically, it's just a spear. It's an ignition spear that when ignited, he is able to wreck a lot of crap with it, and it was able to instantly beat an advanced ranker. So I think that's better than the poison that can maybe cripple a high ranker that we don't know about yet. Next one is Frog Fisher. Frog Fisher is an item used by Evan, and it has 3 functions. We know it has more, but that we have seen it has, I think it has restoration, absorb or hunger, and then destruction, right? Something like that. Destruction is basically just like a really big Shinsu blast. Restoration is where you are able to like rewind time in a certain area to rewind the effects of something. I think it's just for inanimate objects. But that's still really powerful. And hunger, he's able to absorb the Shinsu blast of even a high ranker like Karaka. Right above it is Polak's Well. Polak's Well is used by Dorian Frog. Dorian Frog is able to use this for many ways. It's a very versatile weapon. He's able to stop the train with it, the hell train with it, by spewing mucus all over it. And able to halt it, not completely, but he did halt it for a little bit. And he's also able to analyze people. He uses against white. He's able to bring out eyes from all over it and analyze the opponent. He's also able to summon just Polak, the Shinwei, the frog, and it was strong enough to send white flying all the way off the hell train to like super far away. So overall, I think it is a very powerful weapon that is definitely worthy of being in the contention of high ranker weapons, right? The next one is Xianhe's Spear, Sylphid. Sylphid, basically, the reason it is above Pollock's Well is because white was going to kill Pollock if not for these spears that blocked the attack that he was going to kill Pollock with. And it was also able to, because it is a spear, it also has offensive capabilities that was able to tear off the arm of Grom, a huge behemoth of a creature, and was going to damage Yuhan Sung to a point that he was like, oh no, I have to retreat because I think I'm going to die from this, right? So it's a very powerful ability. Next is Enakor. Enakor, not the version that Kun used because Kun was not even able to use the full version, and he needed help from Beta and from a training kit. We're talking about a high ranker Enakor, so something like our Rishmont was able to do. He was basically, the purpose of an Enakor is to like multiply the abilities of a lighthouse so much so that you're able to do calculations of like, I think it was like 49 or something. Either it was 49 or like a lower number than that in one lighthouse individually. Either way, you can use a lot of calculations in a single lighthouse that you probably couldn't do with just one. And just basically all the reasons that I said of why lighthouses are broken, but multiply them by like however much an Anacor has, and Anacors are crazy. Above them, above this is the Shining Fan used by Ha Xianhe. This is above Sylphe because it was going to legit one-shot Yu Hansung. It's able to use the Vortex of Doom and just swap and just kill him if Yuri didn't save him. It is a very powerful weapon that was about to destroy a high ranker level opponent. Very simple. Above this is the Guardian Swords used by Ari Sharan. You might not think of these as items, but I do. I just think they're items that are born inside of the Ari family that are able to be summoned as Shinsu. That's how I see them. If you don't want to put them on the list, just take them out the list, and that is all. So basically, the Guardian Swords are swords that the Ari family are born inside of them, and they're able to summon whenever they want. So, and they're gigantic from Ari Bright Sharon's use of them, and they were able to damage even Evankel's Ancient. So obviously not kill it, but just get it off of Ari Bright Sharon in the first place is pretty impressive feat. Above the Guardian Sword is Kronos. Kronos is the weapon that Yuri pulled up against Karaka in the Name Hunt station. And this weapon is insane for a single reason, because it can use ultimate ignition in any single floor, no matter what. It can, at one time, it can use full ignition in any floor, no matter the cost. That is insane. Like because there are rules each administrator puts on each floors. So like if a weapon is too powerful to use in a lower floor with regulars involved, it doesn't work, because the administrator is like, hey, don't do that. But this bypasses it completely by being able to use it one time per day or something, I think it is, and just use it on whatever floor you want. That is pretty insane, and it's not weak by any means. Karaka was like, I need to sacrifice my armor, or I'm going to die. Right? It is very powerful, and I think it is underrated in the community. Above it, that we've just shown a little bit more impressive feat, is the Black Mandarin, used by Pobadao Hugo against Robodon. It was able to pierce Gran Abuelo from Robodon. That is an insanely good feat to have, right? To do that to Robodon and just straight up pierce through the thing. And because none of the other attacks from this high ranker level opponent was doing anything to Gran Abuelo, and Gran Abuelo was able to get pierced by this weapon. So, and it is an ignition weapon, so that is just a better feat than anything below it. And the final one is the Ancient Spear that both ruled Rulmon and now is in the possession of Wraith Racer. So overall, I think this spear, the reason why it is here is because from what Kuhn has stated, that this spear can probably only be used 2 times a day by Rack, because it puts, even on him, it puts on too much of a burden, but it is powerful enough to one-shot high rankers. And this has been true because he was able to basically one-shot White with it, and also enough for Bomb to steal all his souls, and also was able to pierce through Kalhalam with Evakel's help. So it is an amazingly powerful spear that's able to damage the strongest people in the tower, right? So overall, I think this is fair, because no one other than Rack or Evankel could really use the spear, because they have ancient blood inside of them, because the spear can only be used by ancients, right? If somebody that's not an ancient uses it, a massive pain goes through their body, and they might even be able to kill them if they're not a high ranker, right? So overall, that is the reason. The next tier is the OP items tier. These are items that are just clearly overpowered, but like they have some limitations on them. So I'll be getting into them. So first is a carrier. I'll explain what a carrier is. So a carrier is basically how it's been stated by SIU. It is a combination. It's an item that's a combination between a lighthouse, a spear, and I think observer. I think it's a combination of almost everything. A combination of everything. It's basically able to make you into every single position. If you have this item, we have only seen one of them in the whole series, and that was used by Dumas, and it was devastating. Right, Dumas beat almost everyone that he went up against, and has not lost against anyone he's been up against because of this carrier, and because obviously his own abilities. But like this carrier helps a lot, and it's used by Adori. Adori Jahad, the strongest princess, uses a carrier. So like we know that it's super strong. There are only like 10 or 11 in the tower. Next is Tiara's pen. This item is just crazy broken. Like this item, you can write. This was given to her by the family, by Gusting, by the family leader, and she's able to write and just do anything, right? We know there are limitations, but we don't know what they are. We don't know what they do. We don't know anything about the limitations. Just that it is that it has something to do with realism and something like that. But she's been able to do so much stuff that I'm like, is it realism, or is it just like whatever it is? She has been able to turn her whole body into Shinsu, been able to copy the Rose Shower attack from Yuri, and split them off into 4 of them. Yuri said that they weren't as fast as her attack, but they were just as strong. And she was able to turn herself into a giant monster. This is also a compression weapon, so it can become bigger and write stuff on the ground without needing a book or needing something else to write on. She can write on anything, basically. Maybe not air, but that's what I mean. That it's an insanely powerful weapon. It does have limitations. That's the only reason that it's here. And if it didn't have limitations that we still don't know of, it would be way higher. Next are the eyes of Deja. Deja, this is the physical eyeballs that Deja got from staring into Enryu, the second strongest person in the whole goddamn tower. And it basically gave him the power to see into the future. Hockney now has these eyes, and because he is not the main user of them, he can't really control them that well. But apparently Deja was able to control him that well, and he's just able to see into the future. It's busted. Like, we know there are some limitations to the eyes because now Hockney has them. But other than that, it's still pretty busted. He can see into the future. That's like anime power rule number 1. Any future abilities has to go high on a list. Right? So I think they're just pretty busted. Next is the 13-month series. I'm going to be putting them all here because if I talk about every single one of them, we don't even know every single one of them. This video is going to be way too long, and this video is already going to be an hour long. I know it's going to be. But basically, the 13-month series is able to... It has a lot of functions. They're all ignition weapons. Some of them are not even physical weapons. I think one of them is actually a carrier too. But they're all different types of weapons. Some are swords, some are needles, some are something else, like hooks, stuff like that, right? We have seen 2 of them, the Black March and the Green April. We have heard about a lot of others, but we have not seen them. And just those weapons alone are busted. What really puts them in the OP tier, though, I think, are because their spell put on them. Their spell is apparently so powerful that it can kill immortals, or people that have immortality spells put on them. That is insane. They just are able to kill immortals, apparently, so that's pretty insane to me. Overall, that is why they're here. Above them is the Essence of Bravery, used by Caliban, and it's just insane. It's this power is able to boost your power so much to the level that once you were contending with somebody to just destroying them like he was with Jin Sang Ha, it's able to basically like conduct other Shinsu, like we saw his fight against Liboric, where he his electricity conducted it and made Caliban even more powerful. It's able to give Caliban so much more fighting experience because it's like the history of martial arts or whatever, or like violence in the tower, and it's just it makes him basically super durable, like to the fact where like he's definitely one of the most, like the top 100 rankers. He is definitely one of the most durable rankers that we have seen. Even if somebody has more power than him, he could still probably take a lot of damage before he goes down, right? Because of the essence of bravery. And he was able to survive Jin Song Ha's strongest attack, the Dragon Tiger Gate, because of other reasons, but mostly because of the essence of bravery, right? And that's crazy. You can survive having a donut in yourself, basically, and it's crazy. The next one are Enryu's Thorn. This is only based on the two we have seen, so we're not taking all four connected or all four completed into account because that's probably number one in the whole list, right? This is just the ones that Bomb has. They're still this high up the list because they're insane. A skill that not many people talk about it that this has is that they're able to dominate space, because this is a spear used by Enryu, like a thorn made by Enryu's power, and Enryu had the ability of just not caring about what the administrators did. He killed an administrator because the administrator could not take his power away. So Bomb is that the passive abilities of the thorns are that they can dominate Shinsu. That they're able to. The reason why Bomb gets so strong is because he basically gets a godlike power that he's able to dominate Shinsu to the point where he's able to damage shadows. He's able to not get his Shinsu stolen by Helljo. It can do the same thing as the Black March and negate spells. It is insane. It is insane how much. And the second Thorn is able to distort space. It has spatial abilities. We have seen this many times, like when Bomb left the hidden floor, or when Bomb changed the course of direction of where he was going to go because he was going to get sent somewhere else. He used the second Thor to teleport, and also teleport the needle, the giant needle, out of the cage. With the power of the souls, he used the second Thorn for that because that has the space distorting abilities. It is crazy. Everything that I just said is insane, but just because it's not completed, I feel like this is where it's supposed to go because the items above it, in my opinion, are just crazier than it. Next, above that, is I don't know how to say this name. I don't know how to say this name, so forgive me. I think it's something like a Zubisoreta or something like that. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. But Zubisoreta is the giant shield used by White Garment Widow. And this shield is just basically indestructible. Can we all agree on that? This shield was able to withstand a black hole sphere from a family head. That is insane, right? Obviously, like, it was given to her by Traumarai, so we know that he has used it before. So it's an indestructible shield, basically. It was able to handle Evankel's flames easily if it handled the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere of a family head. Nothing has to be said more. The only reason that it's not above anything else is because it is one directional. It does not go all over your body. And you can technically still get attacked by other directions that you're not pointing the shield to. That is the only reason it's not higher. Above it is the immortal armor of Dumas and Karaka. It is insane because they're immortal. They're just straight up immortal. The only reason they're not fully higher up the list is because we know there are a lot of things that can kill them. Basically, one thing we know that can kill them is by how they're immortal is that their hearts are stored somewhere else in the tower, and basically, if the only people that can go into that heart area are the people with the armor, or or an administrator, or the family heads in jihad. Those are the only people that can actually teleport to the place of where that heart is. And it is just, I mean, you're immortal. You're basically immortal unless you're those people. And just the only reason it is not higher above than everything else on this list, it is because those people exist in the tower, right? The beings, the administrators exist. The family heads and jihad exist. So like, you still have contentions, but not really from anyone else, right? It's crazy. It's an insane ability that is so overpowered that it's kind of like insane to even talk about. The next one that I wanted to talk about is that I only have two more for this tier. It is Emily, and it is Jihad's bracelet. Let me talk about them briefly. I'll talk about them at the same time. The reason Emily is above here is because she is overpowered. Emily can basically, it's like a guidebook on the tower. You can ask it any question and it is going to respond to you with the correct question, or a question that's going to bring you victory. It can negate the future because it can seal off the path of guides that can see the future, and it is able to give somebody information. If you control Emily, you control information of the tower because of how widespread it is. We also know she's a living ignition weapon, which we don't really know if she can ignite, but I don't see how she would ignite. We don't know. But Emily's crazy. She gets downplayed a lot, but we have seen how crazy she can be from the story itself. And if you want to put her lower, go ahead. But this is just my opinion. I think Emily's busted. Jihad's bracelet. Jihad's bracelet. We didn't know what it did for the longest time. So if the recent chapters didn't come out, I was not gonna put it on this list at all, right? Jihad's bracelet apparently has somewhat, we're still speculating about it, but it has the power of giving somebody irregular abilities like Shinsu Black Hole Sphere. It is said by, the only statement I kind of needed to put it this high up, it has been stated by Gaston, a family head himself, that can kill, that this item can kill Jihad and the Tengri family leaders. That is all I kind of needed. That's the only statement that I needed, but now that we know what it does, it has been able to apparently give the Shinsu Black Hole Sphere to ships and to people like Rachel and like Gus. Well, Gusting already has it, but like Rachel, people that didn't have it or didn't know about it. Haku of the Tubes also has a really good theory that it's the reason that Ghost was able to use Shinsu Black Hole Sphere when he met Bomb. I think that's a really good theory, but we don't know that for sure. But it's an insane ability. That's this. But we don't know everything about it yet, so I can't put it in the next tier. The next tier will be a very short tier, but this video is already an hour long, so I'm gonna die when I'm editing it. This is the family head level. And what I mean, there are only 4 items in this tier. The first one is something called the Eyes of God. I'm actually going to talk about this one with the next one. The Eyes of God, and this is a lighthouse apparently owned by Tuperi, the strongest lighthouse user in the tower, the family head of the Tuperi family. That is, the whole thing is lighthouse control, right? And this is the lighthouse he personally uses. And apparently there's some lore that he was given the eyes of God or something like that, and he can see all and stuff like that. So it is crazy. Tuperi is an insane family head. He's actually the one I'm most curious to me because we have no information almost about him. So and I love lighthouses. I just love the idea of lighthouses and all the ways that can be used. So the Eyes of God are his personal lighthouses that he uses, and that's the only thing I kind of need. He uses this personally above the actual strongest lighthouse in the tower that has been confirmed by SIU. So I have to put the strongest lighthouse above this one, which are operas. Operas are the strongest lighthouses in the tower. We have seen how insane they are because we have seen Ballista's room with all of these lighthouses and big lighthouse, and it's insane, right? Apparently, this is the only lighthouse that is even able to stop Yorick Mazzino for by like 1 second or something, or like 0.01 second or something like that. But it's still able to stop him, which is crazy because other than Jihad, he's probably the strongest in the tower. And even then, that's contentious. Jihad versus Yorick is something I'll talk about later. But it's still insane that it's able to do that in the first place. And just like it's been stated by SIU that it's the strongest opera. So, and the family head doesn't use it and uses another lighthouse. So we kind of have to put it above the one the family head uses. So there you go. Next one is Mago. I think that's how you say it, or how you say it. It's Kun Edwan's special spear. I'm putting this above because it is insane, dude. Like, I'm going to tell you what it does, and from the lore of it, it is insane. Basically, what the spear does is a compressed spear that can decompress, and we have never seen it, by the way. We have not seen it. I'm hoping we see it one day, but we have not seen it. I'll just show pictures of big Data Edwan's light spears to compare, right? This spear, apparently, this was said as a joke, but I'm going to tell you why, even as a joke, that's crazy. It's said, rumor has it, that this spear was able to pierce half the tower. Okay, so as a joke, right? This, as I just said, that it can't really do that. I get that. You know how big the tower is? I'm going to make a structure video of the tower. But just a floor of the tower, it is said to be as big as the Americas. We don't know if that just means North America or all of the Americas. I'm guessing all of the Americas. That's crazy. Just one floor of it. So let's say that is a joke, right? That is a joke. It can't really just destroy half the tower, right? That we'll say that he can't do that. But even as a joke, that means this spear is strong enough to at least probably delete half a floor of the tower. At the bare minimum. Most likely a whole floor, because we know some family heads have the ability of doing wide-scale damage that is like floor level, right? That is like the whole floor level. Like we know Eurasia, the Eurasia Blossom was able to kill 99% of people on a floor. Something like that, by accelerating the Shinsu. So, and Kun Edwan is stronger than her from what we know. So, at least with this spear, he can probably kill the whole floor of the tower. That's insane, right? And, okay, and the final and strongest weapon that we know of, and the only S+ weapon in the entire tower, is called the White Ore, the special sword of Arye Han. This sword apparently is the strongest weapon that's ever created in the tower, and literally when the person made it, I think it was either Mexeth, I think it was Mexeth or Etchwaru, either one of those. I don't remember who it was, but after they made this weapon, they stopped making weapons. They're like, I can't make a weapon better than this, so I'm gonna stop. I peaked. They literally said I peaked and we can't go higher. That is insane, dude. And we have not seen it, confirmed seen it, but I speculate that the one in Joaquin's flashback that we see with Vicente, I'm gonna show it, is the Arya sword. This is it. Just in probably he can probably decompress it so it's not big. And Vicente has said that sword has he can cut people and blood doesn't even stay on the sword because of how pure it is, or something like that. That is insane. We just know it is the strongest weapon in the tower, and nothing has been stated to be that other than it. So I have to put it at the top of the items tier. This video was long. You're never gonna. If you sit through this in one sitting, I love you. I really appreciate it if you do. But if you don't, I understand 100%. You don't have to, right? It's a long video. It's gonna take me a long time to finish it and upload it. So to edit it and upload it, right? So overall, hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, I'll always be here to explain to you guys the truth, and when the truth is not fully explained to you, I will give you my opinion on the truth. And hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.